Okay, today I'm going to be doing a little project here in my home, in my bathroom. I'm going to replace this toilet here with a new toilet that I have over here. The Glacier Bay toilet that I want to replace it with. Actually, there's nothing wrong with this toilet. It works perfectly fine. The only reason I am changing it because the city just notified us this week that they're raising the water rates on us. And of course, the city is always trying to, some way, to fleece its citizens and nickel and dime them to death with bonds and tax issues and so forth. And I, of course, not going to put up with it at the moment. So I went and bought this more efficient water toilet that will use less water to flush than this one right here. And that's the only reason why I'm doing it. I'm going to contradict the water rate that the city is raising upon me, and whatever I save from this, actually I'll probably now even save more money than what the rate that they're planning on raising on me. Okay, I've already disconnected the water right there. Okay, you can see that there is still some water left in the tank. Okay, we'll be removing that. There's still some water left in the commode. Okay, we'll be removing that. That's where this bucket and sponge come in. These are the tools that I'm going to be using. You know, 7/16 wrench, crescent wrench, a putty knife, and some sandal locks and some rubber gloves. Okay. Of course, I'll remove the water so that way when you remove the toilet, you don't have water spilling all over the place, and it should be a drier job to do than to leave the water in there and try to remove with the water in it. Okay. Of course, the first thing that we're going to be doing after the water was shut off, we're going to be removing those bolts right there. That's where the 7/16 wrench comes in. This one on the other side over here. Okay. And that's the only thing that holds that thing on the floor. Once you remove those bolts, you can just lift up the toilet, clean it up, prep it up, and get it ready for the new one that I'm going to be installed. Okay? Okay, the water's been shut off, and now we're going to go ahead and start taking the water that was left behind in the tank, and then we're going to remove the water that's in the commode, so when the toilet is removed, you don't have any water spilling all over the place. Okay, for that we're going to be using the sponge. Got my rubber gloves on. I'll put it down here at the bottom. Take the sponge. Give it a suck up. There it is. All the water out of the tank now. Now I don't have to worry that spilling when I disconnect and bring out the toilet. Now we're going to go and proceed and do the commode as well. Now some people might think this is gross, but this is why you got your gloves on. Of course, you know, it's already been cleaned anyway. Tuck it in. There it is. All the water has been soaked up. There shouldn't be any more water in the commode itself or in the tank. Now I can go ahead and remove this. I can tilt it, I can move it around, and I don't have to worry about any water splashing off. Okay, next thing it's gonna be I'll go ahead now and disconnect the water line from the tank, and then we'll proceed to remove the screws and lift this toilet off the ground. Okay, gonna go ahead and take off the screw, then bolt to the nut here. There it is. We'll go ahead and do the other side. Take the putty knife, run it down along the base to loosen up the caulking that's at the base of the toilet. It'll be easier to pull up. Do the other side. Okay, now that the nuts have been removed, the water line disconnected, now I can go ahead and pry this thing up. Easier than I thought. I'll lift it up and move it off to the side. Okay, here it is. I'm gonna do some cleanup work, scrape all of that off, clean it up, and get ready to take the other one out the box, set it up, and put it in. When I took the toilet off, I noticed that the floor wasn't even, and I guess the last contractor just did a Mickey Mouse job there and didn't flush it out, so I decided to go ahead and put some concrete patch on there to level it out. And now I'm going to go ahead and put in the flange. Supposedly these are these new flanges that supposedly you don't need any screws for them. It has this rubber insulation that goes around, silicone around it. I'm going to go ahead and put it in. When you put this in, just make sure, because the bolts to the toilet are here on the side. So you got to make sure that when you put these slots where the bolts go in, they're at this angle here, so you can get it in. So we're just going to go ahead and push that down. Just a little bit. Okay. And now everything is flush. But I'm not going to be satisfied with that caulking adhesive that I put in. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install some concrete bolts. Since the cement is still wet, I'm just going to go ahead and just push them right on in. Right in there. With the concrete wet. There. Put one right there. Put one right there.
the concrete is wet, the bolts were put in. When that dries up, that's going to be solid. And that's going to move, that's not going to go anywhere. So of course, we're going to have to let that dry so it'll set real good before we put the toilet back on it. More than likely, probably going to be until later on tonight or maybe even tomorrow. Because I want that to dry and set real good. But while I'm doing that, I've decided to go ahead and put a new water line on. Because when I was a new valve, because when I was shutting this one off, it started leaking. And normally that's what happens with these valves, that you don't turn and shut off for a long time. The seal starts driving up, but it's sealed. But the minute you turn it, the seal, since it's been set for so long, start cracking and they start leaking. So since I'm gonna go put a new toilet anyway, might as well just go ahead and replace everything. So meanwhile, I'm gonna go ahead and shut off the water, the main water. And I'm going to go ahead and take the old valve up and put a new one. As you can see, this is all oxidized. I think this is a compression fitting. It's not even a screwed on fitting. Probably going to be difficult trying to break it loose and everything. I'm not going to mess with it. So I'm going to replace the whole thing. I'm just going to cut the pipe out and put in a new one. Just take this whole thing out. So here's my my cutter right here. Get in there, tighten it up. As I turn it around, I keep giving it some turns. I put my towel underneath it because I know water's probably going to come out. It'll keep. Now that the whole valve is out, we'll prepare this for the new one. I'm going to scrape this paint off. And I'm going to sand it. Make sure it has no burrows and no obstruction, so when the new valve goes in, I'm going to be using a valve that you don't need to solder, you don't need to screw in. It's a new valve that they've come out with. It's probably been around a while, but I just recently discovered it myself. All you do is just slip it in, and you're set to go. No soldering, no screwing in. There it goes, that's clean. Ready for the new valve. Okay, here's that new valve. You can see it doesn't have anything for solder, nothing to screw in. You're supposed to just put it in here and push it in. That's it. That's in. It's tight. It's not coming out anywhere. In order to get this out, it has a little special tool that you get. It only costs like about $2, and you put it behind here. That compresses this, and that pushes it right back out if you ever need to take it out again. But that's it. It's already in. It's in the off position. No need to solder. No need to screw anything in. It's good to go. I'm going to go and turn on the water, and then we'll take it from there. Now the water's turned on. You can see there's no leak. I'm just going to turn it on a little bit just to prove to you that the water is on. See it right there. Just to prove to you that the water is on and there's no leak. Very simple, very nice valve. It beats soldering by a long shot. So like I said, I'm just gonna go ahead and let this this over here dry up real good, get solid, and once it dries up nice and solid and doesn't move, then we'll proceed to finish connecting the new toilet in here. Okay, so we'll continue. While I'm at it, I just thought I'd go ahead and show you what you need to get if you ever need to remove this. This is a little special tool that you get, like a little horseshoe. It's only like about $1.80 or $2 or something like that. That's all it costs. And then you just come and put it in here and push it down. That contracts this right here. I'm not going to do it because I don't want the water to come out. But anyway, that's all you need. You push this down here. Once it's set in place like this, then all you do is just push on it and that releases and it comes right out. And that's what you need. That's the only way you're going to take this out. You know, either that or cut it like I did before. But once you take this out, you can use it again. Again, that's what you need to take this out. Okay? Okay, this is already set overnight. As you know, I put it in, put the concrete patch around it to level out the floor and securely secure this flange secure to the floor. As you can see, that is solid. Those screws are already embedded in that cement. Oh, you're gonna get them out as soon as screw them out, and this thing is not moving anywhere. So let's go to the next step. Let's get the new toilet out the box. Start assembling it, and then go through the procedure of putting it there. Okay, the toilet is out of the box. I put it there on the mat so I don't want it to get scratched on the floor. There's the tank, there's the lid, there's the seat to the toilet. Here's the hardware. It's going to be assembled. The only thing that I'm not going to use from this kit is this wax ring. You know, this wax ring is outdated, old-fashioned. They don't use them anymore. They're messy when you need to replace them. You know, so I'm going to go and use what they're using now, which is a rubber ring. You know, it's much more convenient, much easier to use. It's not messy. And this is what the latest thing that everybody's using. I already knew that wax ring was going to be in that box. So I anticipated that, and I went and bought this ahead of time so I would have it ready. So let's start going assembling this thing together and dropping it over in that corner. Yeah, the bolts are set in place. And as you notice, I also put some caulking around the edge there. And that's because now when I put the seal in here, I wanted to have extra protection and seal around it. Okay, and I'm also going to put some silicone here on the top before I set the toilet and assure myself that it has a good seal on there and no leaks are going to come out. Okay, put some silicone on top of the seal Like I said, I just want that extra protection on it. I'll make sure it doesn't leak. Now let's just flip this thing over and set it in there. Okay, there it is. Screw already set in. The other side's already set in. Okay, let's go ahead and tighten this up and go to continue the assembly of this project. Okay, there's the nut already screwed in. The base is already on. It's already solid to the floor. Doesn't move. Now bear in mind and notice that this is a wing nut. A wing nut is normally used to just make it hand tighten. You know, tighten it only hand tight. Here's the other one on the other side, same thing, wing nut. That means, you know, just make sure you only hand tighten it. Don't over tighten it, because you don't want to over tighten it and then crack the base because you over tighten it. And of course, if you crash the base of the toilet, then you have a different issue. Then you're gonna have to replace it. So, you know, just get it tight enough where it's snug. It doesn't move when you move it, and then you're good to go. Next thing is we're gonna go ahead and put the cap on it, and I'm gonna go ahead and cock it around, and then we'll go to the next part of putting on the toilet seat, the tank, the cap, and finish the assembly and hook up the water lines and hook it up. We'll continue. Okay, I've already did the caulking all the way around it. I put the cap over the bolts. Everything is really solid. The hard part is really already done. We're going to move over into the next step of getting the tank in, and then we'll hook up the water lines, hook up the top to it and the seat, and we're good to go. I like to make a note at this time. You see a lot of YouTube videos when guys are putting in toilets, they use a level to put a level across here to see if the toilet is leveled. The instructions with this thing also came up, you know, that you needed a level to be a part of the equipment, tools that you need to install that. Personally, I think that's overkill. If you're replacing a toilet where a toilet existed before and you had no trouble with the toilet that you took off as far as how it's leveled, then you shouldn't have any trouble with the toilet that you're putting in. It's going back into the same location where you took the one off. Now, if you're putting in a brand new floor with a brand new toilet that has never had a toilet there before, then maybe I would recommend go ahead and use the level and get it all straightened out. But if you're taking one out and replacing it with another one, it's overkill to be using a level. Okay, so I just thought I'd just make that note and you know, save yourself an extra step. Okay. I will say also that you know, my method of leveling it is I'll just sit down on the toilet. If one of my cheeks is off balance, then I know I have an issue. If my cheeks are balanced, then I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, first step to starting setting up the putting on the tank is gonna go ahead and put in the seal. Okay, that's where the tank is going to be sit on to keep preventing from leaking. So that's the first step. Next step I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put in the water line. I think it'll just be much easier to put it on now before I put the tank in, and it'll be ready to hook up to the water faucet once I water valve once I hook it up. When you buy these lines, just make sure that it says toilet. And if you get the one that says toilet, you can't go wrong. It will connect to any conventional toilet. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put that on. As you can see, this is also hand tight. So you're only gonna tighten it up until you can't turn it anymore. Hopefully that should be enough right there to prevent any leaks. Plus, once you turn on the water, if it does leak, but then just turn it a little bit more. But that right there should be good to go right there. And I'm gonna go ahead and take off the screws. Now you can also see that these are also wing nuts. So it's going to be the same thing. Once you put them in and you start tightening it up, it's only going to be hand tightened. You know, you don't want to tighten it too much because you don't want to crack the tank, because then if you do, then you're going to have a serious issue. Then you're going to have to replace the tank. Okay, so it'll be the same thing, just tighten it hand tight. And hopefully once you do it, you don't have any leaks. If it has leaks, just tighten it a little bit more. So now we're going to go ahead and pick this up and set it into the tank and on the toilet. Okay, so line up the bolts. There they are. They're in there. Okay. Gonna get around. Put in the washer. Get the nut, line it up, start turning it. Like I said, remember this is just going to be hand tight. Just once you get it snug, stop, leave it there. Once you can't turn it anymore, finger tight, just stop it. I'll get the other side. And make sure that you got it squared and tighten it up. There it is. I can't turn it anymore with my fingers. That should be tight enough right there. Okay. This is already secure. But of course the final test will be once you turn it in the water. If you have a leak, then you might have to give it another little tug. But I think that right there should be good to go. Everything's already been installed, and there it came pre-installed already, so I don't have to do anything about that. Okay, so the only thing I have to do now is just get the lid set up, put the plunger. These are push plungers, like a plunger, you push them in the middle. It doesn't have a handle on the side. So
So I'm going to go ahead and get that set up and get the plungers installed on this. And we're almost done. Okay, this is the flush valve. The push button that's going to go in. This is what flushes the toilet. It's a double flush. This is what flushes the toilet. It's a double flush system. You know, single flush or double flush. You know, stronger. And as you can see, it's a blue and a gray. And as you can see over here, the plungers where it's going to be sitting right over. It's a blue and a gray, so it's color coded. So you got to make sure the blue is over the blue and the gray is over the gray when you put it in. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and proceed to go ahead and put it in. I'm going to sit this over there, put it in here. And put in this nut here. Okay, make sure it's lined up. And then again, same thing with this one. This is just hand tighten. Okay, that's all you need to do. It might be a possibility that you might be to adjust these right here. They adjust by, you can screw them in or screw them out. You know, just make sure that they're, when they sit right over the flush valve over here, they're just sitting right flush with it. Because if it pushes down on it, it's going to be overheating or auto. So I'll make that adjustment once I turn it on. And just, it's already set. Okay, it's already in there. Here it is. Just sit it over. Just sit it over. There it is. Already in place. Here. That's it. Next thing is I'll go ahead and hook up the water line. I'll turn on the water and see where we're at. Once I check for all leaks and everything's working fine, I'll put in, last thing I'll put in the toilet seat. Okay, okay, ready to hook up the water line. Well, the water line does require a little bit more than just hand tighten. So for that, I'm going to be using my crescent wrench. It should be right there, hopefully. Let's just turn it on. There it is. I'm sure you heard it. Water's turning on. At least there's no leaks over here, so we know we're good. We know we're good there. Now we'll wait until the tank fills up. Open it up. There is water filling up in the tank. So far I don't see any leaks coming out. It looks like we're going to be good to go. There you go, water's filling up. Water's already also filling up in the commode. Alright. Like I said, no leaks coming out. So it looks like we're all good to go as far as leaks going. Just wait until it stops filling up, and we'll put the lid back on and do it. It's already stopped filling up. As you can see, it only goes to barely maybe half a tank, not even quite half a tank. That's at least half the water that my other toilet was using. So that is going to be a significant savings right there alone. Okay, let me put the lid on it and do a test flush. Okay, lid is back on. Here we go. Look at that. Okay, we know it's flushing, so let's throw some debris in there. And let's do the single flush and see how that operates. No problem flushing that up. And with a little bit of water. I did have in my whole toilet when I flushed it, the commode almost got almost halfway full before I started flushing down. Okay. That was a single flush. Supposedly that's supposed to be a light flush. If you want something heavier, then we'll do the single flush. So let's wait until it fills up again, and then we'll throw some more debris in there. Okay, flush number 2. Throw that debris in there. And do the double flush. Same results. Gone. Okay, I think everything's working fine. Go ahead and put on the lid. We'll be done. The seat, bolt. Make sure the washer's on the bottom. Since this seat, of course, obviously, you're going to have different weights on it that are sitting on it. And this will require just a little bit more than just hand tight. You need to just make sure you tug it enough so it doesn't shift around, so when a heavier person sits on it, it doesn't shift. Compared to a lighter person, they probably won't bother them at all. Yeah. To tighten this up, all you really need is just a screwdriver. Then just hold the nut underneath. Get the other side. There it is, right there. Snap those back on, snap those back on. See it installed. Get the tape that they have on it off of it. There it is. One new toilet installed and working. Okay, there you go. And I hope this video helps you. It was really relatively a simple job, you know, a lot of common sense. Doesn't really take rocket science to put them in. And with that, I am out.